Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps lots. And also keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. All right, folks, here we are after market close on Wednesday, May 25th. I wanted to dig into some sort of similar news stories that I saw recently and sort of just throw an idea out there and then basically say, be interested to see what folks think in the comments. And I'll sort of elaborate on that a little more in a moment. We're not really going to look at the chart today. I'm sure you know what the chart looks like at the moment. SPY melting, QQQ melting. Today's the day that Snowflake and NVIDIA reported earnings. They're going to continue to melt the market even more, it looks like. So that said, let's hop over. So there's two links that'll be in the description below to the two tweets that I'm going to show you. This one is a very short video. This is only 13 seconds long, but basically Arthur Cashin is saying here that he worries, that it's a very sort of skittish, scared market at the moment. This was the day that Snap dragged tech lower, as you see, and that he is sort of concerned that maybe there's a hedge fund that's about to blow up or some other systemic failure that could happen. I'm obviously paraphrasing here. Just watch the 13-second video and you can hear verbatim what he says, but that's the gist of it. Some systemic failure that's looming, or something like a hedge fund that's going to blow up, and that's sort of what's kind of happening in the background behind all of this really sort of skittish market action. Similarly, in this clip here, Kevin O'Leary talking about what you need in order to have this bottom come into the market, the recent pullback. And what he's saying is, having seen this happen several times in the past, which I have no doubt is true, that he feels like there needs to be some large failure. Essentially, somebody needs to fail that needs to be like a sacrificial lamb. So he also points out like a hedge fund who's over leveraged, who's upside down, and essentially goes to zero, and you find out about it overnight, and that just brings the market down another 5-10% relatively quickly, and then the bottom's in. That's the basic gist of what he says here. This is a little bit longer clip, a little over 2 minutes, but these are obviously very short, easy to watch. You can get them both in 2.5 minutes of your life. So I would just be interested to hear if folks think that there's potentially any validity behind this, what these two folks are saying, and this idea of there needs to be a sacrificial lamb here. Some large entity, or maybe entities, need to go belly up in order to have like pure panic, like actual panic set in and draw the market down very harshly, very quickly, and that will then help us put the bottom in and can return to sort of, I guess, maybe working our way back toward a bull market again. Now, I went ahead and just grabbed a few things that kind of popped to mind as I was listening to this. I couldn't help myself. These don't necessarily have anything to do other than I'd be interested to hear, A, if you folks think that there's any validity to these arguments or these concerns. That I feel like Cashin has a concern and that O'Leary has just a working hypothesis of what he would like to see happen. And so I feel like they do come at it from two different perspectives in that sense. So I'd be interested to hear if folks think that it's like plausible that that's sort of what's behind all of this, and why bottom it hasn't been put in yet. And also, I'd be interested to hear if you do think that that's quite probable, quite plausible, what is it, right? Like, what is that thing that needs to happen? What's going to be the catalyst there that's going to cause that to happen? I've seen comments that talk about like synthetic shorts, right? Like some of these things that we've heard ever since like the GameStop AMC like fever was at its highest pitch. And yeah, I would just be really interested to see if folks do think that this is likely a symptom of what's happening right now and is ultimately going to be the nexus point, right? Everything's going to come to a head, this one like big blowing up of something. Like, what is that thing? What's the cause of it? What's the entity? Something like that. So in any case, I pulled up a few things. There was obviously the meltdown of the mortgage industry, that subprime mortgage, like craziness. This is a list of a bunch of crashes, but I'm just pulling ones that were sort of like more from my time that I recalled. Bear Stearns. I think there's also a famous like Kramer clip that goes along with this that you can find. But Bear Stearns, global investment bank located in New York City that collapsed during the 2008 financial crisis. They were heavily exposed to mortgage-backed securities that turned into toxic assets when the underlying loans began to default. If you were around then, or if you were involved then, you're very familiar with this. Also Lehman Brothers. So also these things would be like branches on the same tree if you went through this. Subprime meltdown, 2007 2008 financial crisis, and yeah, these things it was just like Kevin describes in the video. Actually, like, you woke up and it was like, holy cow, this is happening, and it's happening immediately, and it's not a slow burn. This is an explosion, right? It's crazy. I'm also thinking of things like Enron, right? Like, could something like Enron, who they're talking about a darling of Wall Street, at Enron's peak, its shares were worth $90.75. And then December 2nd, 2001, they were trading at 26 cents. I mean, unbelievable. And that was, they fooled regulators with fake holdings and off-the-books accounting practices, and there's a whole other like scandal. But I'm just throwing out ideas. Like, could it be something more obvious, like Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns? Like, they're way over leveraged on something that just sort of like they can't unroll. Like, they can't get back to where they need to, and they go belly up. Could it be something like even just a ticker, like a huge ticker, like this, the dot-com bubble, right? Obviously, this is a whole sector of the markets that's just sort of like inflated, very frothy, very bubbly, and this was an intense pop. You can read more about that if you weren't around, don't recall it, what have you. And I happened to find this, and I only pull this up because this just came out a few days ago. This is a week ago. This came out, very short article, but hedge fund hell, how the tech crash is clobbering the Tiger Cubs. You can read in here what the Tiger Cubs are if you're not familiar, but it talks about, actually, I mean, at a like relatively quick look, it almost looked to me like it's talking about how they're not necessarily over levered, but I mean, it's also called hedge fund hell. So it's who knows, right? That's the other thing. It's like these things come out of nowhere because they are very opaque, and you think you can see what's happening, you think you know what's happening, and you don't quite get the whole picture until like they say, you wake up one morning and it's, whoa, what is happening? It's like one of those moments. So again, interesting idea. Interesting to come across those clips in relatively quick succession. And again, I'd be really interested to see folks in the comments, do you think there's any validity behind these ideas? If so, what do you think the cause of it could be? Who do you think the players could be that are sort of like perched at the precipice of collapse? And I'd be really, really interested to hear comments below. All right, folks. Oh, my battery's going to die anyways, so I hope that your trading week finishes up strongly in the days ahead. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.